school of Jesus.
Apostolic Sunday School.
All right. I'm excited to tell you guys about authority, respect for authority, and how it affects your life, my life, and all of our lives. And Sarah and I are going to do a quick demonstration about how each of us and how we respect and how we deal with authorities in our life can make our life either something beautiful or something ugly. So let's talk a little bit about the authorities we have in our life, okay?
Okay.
So the first thing I can think of is parental authority, like your mom and your dad. So let's just say if I'm in my house, my mom comes to me and says, "You need to clean your room or you can't go out for the rest of the day." What I'm going to do, if I have respect for her, I'm going to say, "Mom, you're right. I know my room's a mess. I'm sorry. I promise I clean it, and I really am going to clean it. Okay, I'm going to start right now, and you're going to be so happy with me. Thank you, Mom, for being patient with me." And I'm going to show her, not just by my words, but by my actions, that I respect her, and I respect her place in my life.
Well, my mom came in and said, "Clean this room." And I was like, "Excuse me, don't you see right now I'm playing my game? I can't help you right now. This game is really important. I'm right in the middle of it." Psh. I was like, you're just going to have to wait a little bit.
Okay. Well, another source of authority in all of our lives is honestly, it's the government. And for example, let's just take the police, for example. So like probably not a lot of you kids, but some of you grown-ups, I've been pulled over for speeding. And one of the first things they ask you is, "Do you know why they pulled you over?" And of course, I say, "Well, officer, I'm not maybe positive why, or yes, sir, I know I was speeding. I'm sorry about that, but, can I get off with a warning?" Or something like that. But anyway, something that just shows the respect I have for the police. They have an important position in society. They take care of us.
Well, I was in a store one time, and the security guard came up to me and was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, you can't walk out of this store without paying for those shoes that are in your purse. I see them sticking out of your bag." And I was like, "Excuse me? No, this was totally an accident. I did not mean to walk out of here with those shoes in my bag. Why are you talking to me like that? How dare you accuse me of stealing these shoes?"
Wow.
That's what I did.
Okay. Well, all right. Here's another source of authority in our lives. How about the teachers in our lives? I'm thinking about Sunday school teachers. I'm thinking about school teachers. When they come to you, "I think you weren't paying attention when I taught the lesson." Well, of course, if I'm going to be respectful, I'm going to say, "You're right. I'm sorry. I was distracted. I'm going to do better. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for giving me a chance. And you know what? Could I make up that test I did so bad on?" And you know what? Half the time or more, the teacher will give you mercy if you respect them.
Well, when the teacher told me, "Look, you can't keep glancing over at the next test," I was like, "Excuse me, my eyeballs are right on my test. They were never on that test." Psh. That's what I did, because she does not know what she's talking about. I never, ever looked at that test. No way. She can't talk to me like that. How dare she?
It's the elders in our life, the elders in our church. And how many of us has had an elder come to us and tell us, "Hey, son, I've noticed you may be struggling with this or struggling with something that," and they're right. And an elder has come to me and said, "You know what? I struggled with that same thing that I can tell you're struggling with. And let me tell you how Jesus got me out of it. Let me tell you what God did in my life." And when I take and respect those elders, it's just a beautiful thing, because they've got the wisdom. They've been through bad things, and they can share that with me and prevent me from having a suffering life.
Well, this old lady came up to me in the church and she said, "That boy you've been hanging around with, I think he's bad news." And I was like, "Excuse me? Who asked you for your opinion?" I was like, "He's pretty cute. No, I do not need that negativity in my life." And I was like, "Thank you, but my parents aren't fine with it."
Okay, so this is another source of authority that's so important in our lives. And that is your pastor. You know, your pastor, all he wants you to be safe. He wants you to be safe in this world. And so he set boundaries. He set standards in our lives, things we're supposed to do, things we're not supposed to do. And when we follow those standards, that's what keeps us safe. And we show our respect for what he asks us to do by obeying and respecting him at home. When we talk about him among our children, among our friends, we show our respect for the authority of the pastor.
But when the pastor says something, you're just supposed to do it at church. Like, you know, when I go to Disneyland and stuff, you don't have to do that there. I mean, it's just the pastor. It's not like, you know, the Bible or something. And besides, he tried to call me in his office, and my parents were like, excuse me, that is my little princess. You don't touch her.
Okay, the last source of authority that I want to talk about is the most important. And that's the authority that God has over us. And we should respect him. And there's so many ways as children, as grown-ups, that we can and should respect God. I'm just thinking of an example. What about the end of church when there's an altar call going on? Where are we supposed to be? Are we supposed to be at the front, at the altar, worshiping God with everybody else, praying for visitors, showing respect to the word that's been preached? Or should we be out, hanging out in the back of the church, on our phones? There's respect that we have to give to God.
But that phone call was really important right then. And that text, like, I really needed to take it. So I went out, and then my friends were out there, and I was just chatting with them, and, like, I don't get to see them very often. So what else was I supposed to do?
You know what? We've made a bunch of different choices in these scenarios. So let's look at the kind of life that God has given us, the kind of life that our respect for authorities will bring on us. So let's take a close look.
Well, that's
Isn't
that's
this
pretty?
When we show respect, God makes our life just really something beautiful.
Well, mine looks like that too, I'm sure. Ew.
That's kind of murky.
It's
I can't even
kinda,
see through it. It's ugly. It's dirty. And you know what?
What?
I bet with that kind of attitude, you're not going to get respect from other people either. If you're not showing respect, it's hard to respect somebody like that. And I can just totally see. I can see this lack of respect that you've shown for all these important authorities in our life just boomeranging back on you, and you're turning into...
Boomerang? Like a boomerang?
Why do you have a boomerang?
I just carry one with me. I got it in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow. So what's important about a boomerang?
Well, if you throw it correctly, and I don't think I know how to, but if I throw it correctly, then it will come right back at me. Just like that.
I thought you didn't know how to throw that.
Wow, that was incredible.
Wow.
I could throw a boomerang. Ooh, I think that just knocked some sense into me. I don't think I've been very good to authority. In fact, it kind of reminds me of it's just a real short story in the Bible about a group of boys. They did not respect the authority in their life. Their pastor's name was Elisha. And one day they saw Elisha walking, and there was a unique characteristic about Elisha. He was bald. And those boys, they were like, ha, 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 ha. Hey, go up, Baldy. Hey, Baldy. To the pastor. And Elisha wasn't very happy. He just turned around and gave him over to God, and something really bad happened. The Bible said,
what happened?
That's what happened.
Bears?
Yeah.
Two bears?
2 she-bears chased those boys, and, well, they ate them all up.
For not showing respect to
Just for
the
not
pastor?
showing respect to the pastor.
Oh, my word.
That is a dangerous place to be. Now, I'm not saying that she-bears are going to come and chase you. But I am telling you, there are consequences for not respecting the man of God, your parents, your teachers. When I first got married and we knew we wanted kids, I started looking around at different parents and how they reacted with their kids and how kids reacted. And I want my kids more than anything above all, I want them to live for God. So I started looking around, and I'm not, every kid has a choice whether to live for God. And I'm not saying this is why every kid backslides. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I did notice that those kids that did not respect authority and were allowed not to respect authority by their parents didn't respect authority. Over and over, they struggled in their walk with God. And many of them are no longer living for God. And it's so important. This lesson that we're talking about today, we've had fun with it today, but it is so important. If you do not have respect for the authority in your life, how will you ever respect God? Because that authority is God-given. So if you cannot respect that authority that God has put into your life, then how are you going to respect God? The two go hand in hand. And so wherever you are right now, if there's anything inside of you against your parents or against your teachers, we're not perfect. Parents aren't perfect. Teachers aren't perfect. Nobody that is human is perfect. We've all made mistakes, but we still have to respect the God-given authority. Even when we don't agree with decisions made, we still have, it's so important and so vital that you respect that authority. And so wherever you're at, if you could just kneel down and pray and say, God, check my heart. Check my heart that I don't have anything against any of the authorities in my life. Help me, Jesus, so that I can respect them, so I can fully respect you and I can live for you. It's that important.